Welcome to the Late Flight Show. So, yes, we are. We are back. And as we drift amongst the clouds, as we sail between the stars, we recognize that you can never get to heaven if you're scared of getting high. So, I was thinking about like how my acting style kind of works in my context where I am now and how that can be translated into different markets, because as an actor really you have to be a global actor now. You can't just be regional unless you get, one movie opportunity in your lifetime for that obscure documentary that wins an Oscar every 5 years from like a weird country that you've never heard of. So unless you want to be, in that field of acting, fine. Um, but generally, if you want to have a retirement fund, you want to work, you want to be a global actor now. That's how things are moving. Reality TV is going in that way. Everything is online. It's all meta, 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 meta. Breaking the veil between reality and and fiction. It's all about fantasy. It's what Wes Craven designed in The New Nightmare. And I know we talked about horror movies, but touching back on that, he created a world that was a world within a world within a world that was a world. Kind of like the film Synecdoche, New York with Philip Seymour Hoffman with the Christian Bale look. It was a world within a world within a world within a world. And that's what we're going to as actors. And that's why our acting style is different and is evolving. But I was always thinking about who am I acting for? Who am I acting to? And when it comes down to it, we're acting for white people. We're acting for white men, really. All of us in front of the screen are acting for the white man. And they can't tell you different because in order for that black person to be seen by you, it's because it goes through the gatekeeper who is the white man. They like to use the white woman to front, but the white woman is just as disenfranchised as the black man. Oh yes. Oh yes, co-hosts. Now before you start throwing tomatoes at the screen, this is not just gleamed from my musings, this is gleamed from my work as an actor. I don't speak about stuff if I don't know what I'm talking about, without doing my research. And my research predicted the trend that I saw happening in American TV shows in the mid to late 2010s when they started showing black male and white woman couples. I had predicted that for a long time, like a decade before, because I could see it coming. Why? Because we share the same struggles. We are under the look of the white man, and they like to pit us against each other. This is a known thing. We talk this on the Late Flight Show because Stella Adler said in order to act, you need to know the political, social, economic dynamics and the structures that govern these dynamics within a society if you ever need to play a character. So in the year 3000, when an actor wants to play a character that's based on a black man in post-apartheid South Africa in 2019, 21st century, they will know that in that time, black men and white women were going through similar struggles under the white male gaze that Laura Mulvey wrote about in her academic video essay, or essay about video narratives. Okay, we're talking academically here. not emotionally. Well, yes, it is part of our emotions, it's acting, but you know what you know what I'm saying. So, I was thinking about all of this, and in as much as, yes, you are acting for yourself and you are acting for representation so that, you can show in the media that there are different kinds of people. Um, and like that's what Oprah did for a lot of us. She showed us that yes, black people actually matter and can speak and be funny and be compassionate and emotional, not just killers, like all the award winning movies show us to be, or slaves. It's like, no, we can actually talk about complex subjects and get to the root common denominator in them and bring people together. How about that? And Oprah exposed us to more black people who did the same thing, so that's amazing. But I saw this picture of Oprah on the cover of some magazine, I think Vanity Fair or something, or the one that shall not be named that starts with an F that we don't talk about here. That magazine, so it was her and a bunch of white people, white men, I think, and maybe one other woman, white woman. But it was just interesting to see that even her, she's still acting for the white man. So she does own her life pretty much right now. But I mean, who can she relate to? She can't relate to anyone. Because she's the first. Well, that we know of. And this is what information is available to us. Um, so, yes, she brought up Iyanla and she brought up all these other people. Um, but it's still, that's our audience is white people. And now, before you throw tomatoes, black people, my people, my people, my people, just calm down. Have another. Let's take a flight. Take a flight. It's the ace. I'm here. I'm the cabin. I'm like hosting you on this flight. Just take a flight. Okay. Take it in. We are acting for white men because they are giving the money. And if you ever want to find the root of magic, follow the money, because that's where things happen, where the money happens. And they have the money. Now, there are black people with the money, but they're interested in buying Lamborghinis and Gucci, not in investing in art. The people, um, so essentially, so essentially, when you have like a publicist off to the side who like does this when you're about to say something, yeah, isn't that fun when that happens? Of course, I wouldn't know because I'm just in a room, right? Um, so just take it in, guys. We're acting for white men, and I learned this the hard way. In high school, I was baptized by fire. I went to an all-white, basically, high school. Like 90% of the people were white. Um, and it was all boys, and they killed me. We've covered that in previous episodes. And when I came back, like I talked about in the Kate Hudson one, um, at the time I didn't know why I was choosing Kate Hudson as a character to use to deflect from the bullying to the point where they ended up falling in love with me. But it was actually because subconsciously I sensed that white women were in the same situation. They just knew how to get out of it because they had something that white men wanted. So they were able to leverage that. Oh gosh, the publicist would be like, They leveraged that. This is the late flight show, you guys. So, you know, it's horrible, but it happens. And Ashley Judd actually talked about this to one of the interviewers. I think Diane Lane, not Diane Lane, the ABC woman. Ashley Judd was saying, she basically what I'm saying, that white women can leverage their sexual appeal to white men to get a little bit, a teeny bit of what they want, and even then it's a gamble because as we've seen with Weinstein and company, they can screw you over and not give you the parts at the end of the day, unless you know. So it's all about leveraging, but they have something to leverage. As black men, all we have to leverage is our physical body, like in athletics or sports, to the white man. And if it's not that, it's nothing. It's your physical manual labor. So if you are a person who, you know, is a free human being who doesn't want to be in labor or sports, who wants to act as a black male, yeah, you need to understand you're going to have to coon yourself a little bit to a point, at some point, and in some way. It's coming. You're gonna wear a dress. I wore my dress already in high school in a play we did. I won the award for the best cameo ever. Um, I was an old woman. I wore the dress, so I'm in the club, I guess. Stupid people thinking there's clubs. Um, silly show. Silly, silly. So at some point, if you know, it's also there's different types of acting. So if you want to go into the type of acting which you know we're talking about on the show, um, you're gonna have to at some stage, you know, acquiesce to the white man. And I guess the reason why my work is the work that I seek to play is always so labeled as edgy. I hate that term. It's so corny. Edgy. Charlie's so edgy. Oh. That term, the reason I guess I like edgy work is because it brings awareness to the white men, what power they have, and to just be a little bit nicer. It's like we're all hostages, and I'm that hostage who's got Stockholm syndrome, and I'm like, okay, I'll. What do you want? I'll do it. Just don't kill me, please. And I think that's probably why subconsciously I get cast in a lot of in a lot of roles where I'm like playing a tricky B word. Like they always make me the tricky bitch in the script. Like I always flip the script somehow and challenge the white. Like I even played God, so it's like I challenge that, and I think I like roles that challenge that because you know in the olden days of the French Revolution, we would have hung them out to dry and or chopped off their heads at the guillotine. But we don't do that anymore because we're civilized. And civilized people don't do violence. No. Civilized people spar with the mind because they both, all civilized people, value longevity. And they are not bastards who believe in death and destruction. They believe in life, everlasting life. Like death becomes her. That's the serum. To live forever. And so while we have this opportunity as actors in this time in history, it'll be different in 100 years' time. The black people will be fine, but we are here now and we have to act. So Let us use our art as work, as inspiration, and as a way to challenge the power systems to be more aware of itself and be kinder. No one is saying we don't want you to be the power system. Okay, people are saying that. But take that out of the equation to make it less hurtful to you. Imagine it's not about the fact that you're in power. Imagine it's about that you're in power, but you're abusing it. So if you were just in power, but you were nice, then everything would be in harmony. If black people didn't have to coon themselves to get jobs, maybe things would be in harmony. If women didn't have to get sexually harassed, and men, to get work, it would be cool, it would be nice. Just little things like that. Then maybe we won't demand 6 trailers and white gummy bears only and all these crazy things, because maybe, and go naked on TRL. Maybe we won't do that because you are aware of your power and are using it wisely. But at the end of the day, as an actor, we can't control what they do, and you just have to act between them and somehow connect with them, because they are going to be paying your salary. So you have to connect with them somehow. And I just can't be fake and disingenuous. I wasn't raised that way. So through my work, I will challenge the system, but I'll still recognize that we have to work together. And I'm open to working with them in reimagining how people see them for the benefit of everyone involved, so that no other kid has to be killed by bullies or by people who are not able to express their dark hidden parts, so they take it out on others. Rather, watch a movie, watch one of my movies, which is all about dark hidden stuff, secret stuff, occult mysteries. I have Scorpio in my first house. I'll tell you all the secrets. I'll show you the mysteries, okay? Watch me. But don't take it out on the kids or other people. If you're curious, watch. I'll show you curious stuff. I have, come on in my house. I'll do it. I'll take it. Just like I got rid of the sexual molester in high school, I'll be the distraction to let you have the freedom to experience those dark subjects through a film, through my acting, because I've seen them. But maybe you're curious about them. Watch my movie first, then think about taking that path into destroying people's lives. Watch movies and save yourself, because no one is going to save you. That's why we live in Los Angeles, because we are the angels. We can just tell you. We can just show you through having seen it ourselves and being able to reproduce it on command in front of the lights. To be able to go back to that moment. To that moment when they were doing the most horrible things to me, and I felt like I wasn't going to survive. felt like I wasn't going to make it, and everyone just watched and did nothing to stop it. The fact that I can access that now really quickly and easily is part of the acting training. It doesn't make it any less real. It just means that the mind and the body has found a way to process it so that it's useful in the medical application, psychological application of healing in others through the medium of film and art and media, narrative building, storytelling, because essentially that's what our societies are built on. All of it is artifice that hangs on a storyline, and the storyline is that good wins over evil, right? So if that's the storyline, we as actors kind of have to reinforce that. And on our way to reinforcing that storyline, we play all the characters in between in order to understand why that storyline is important to be reinforced. And in order to get experience to play those characters, unfortunately, sometimes you have to die. But like James Bond, you live twice. So one life for yourself, and you have one life for your dreams. So when your life for yourself dies, then they give you a life for your, the life of your dreams continues, and you just become that. And that's why people, you'll see them now even, famous people working on the biggest project, and they're being interviewed and they have that look in their eyes of pain, like how much they fought to get the project off the ground, how much work it took, how many no's it took, how much struggles they had in the production, how many people scammed them and ran away with their money. You never hear those stories, but that's what happens behind the scenes. And all of this just to please the white man. Why? So we can heal you. So acting is kind of the path of the wolf, the loner. Because you can't take anyone with you on that path. And this circles back to what we started with in the beginning. Don't date actors. Because this is what it means, guys. It's a lifelong commitment. It is your life. As long as you are not within the four walls of your secret private space or your room, you are acting. If you're an actor. If you're a doctor, then it doesn't apply to you. If you're an accountant, don't worry about it. But if you're an actor, you know. If you could be an actor pretending to be an accountant, but you'll always know that you need the camera. You need the lights. You need that suffering to be used for good. When you read, secret intelligence papers, they always talk about bad actors in countries that you need to look out for. But literally, like in life, they call them bad actors. You're an actor, and your mission impossible, is to make the storyline that good wins over evil. That's your mission, because that's what the white man said. And so to get the money, the funding, your stories your act, that's your mission. In between, you can do that. But I like to say, yes, good wins over evil, but how about if the evil could also be the white man? Let's challenge that perception. I'm not saying it is. I can't say it is, because I'm beholden to them. And I love them to bits. I mean, seriously, it's business. Like I said in the three rules of show business, be multi-talented, be flexible, and never take it personally. It just is, it is what it is. But I mean, even then, I challenge it, because it would be stupid to not acknowledge that fact in my art. It would be like seeing a white elephant and just keeping quiet. It wouldn't make sense. So yes, my work comes off as ironic and cheeky and um, sometimes misunderstood for being literal. But I always say, don't take it literally, take it seriously. Because it's not meant to be taken literally. It is, I use an extreme example of something to show how ridiculous the core example is in my work. So I use the N-word balls, for example, referring to the sweet, to show how ridiculous apartheid was and how ridiculous it was that people stood by and did nothing. And we don't want to address that as a society and talk about it, yet we are meant to live with these people and blend with them and not have animosity and collation of the situation. And then people say, oh, the farm people are being killed. Well, yeah, because look, okay. Because people in a society need to have a forum where they can talk about why. When you're abused, you always want to know from your abuser why. Trust me, I know. So when the people were oppressed in South Africa, and there was a few white people who did the crime of apartheid, but the large group of them let them get away with it, just like in Nazi Germany. A few Germans were evil, but the rest of them let them do it to the Jews. So my question is, my huge question in this narrative of good wins over evil, I've always asked myself, why would those white people keep quiet? What happened? Were they brainwashed? Why haven't we addressed it so we can stop it from happening again? From keeping people quiet? And it is happening again, and that's why the black middle class is very quiet about everything. Because that's what you guys do. What they did, so now everyone else does it. So in looking at it from that perspective, as a South African, the fact that there was no catharsis when I use the N-word, I'm trying to highlight the fact that perhaps it was a cultural thing. Perhaps they were brainwashed, those white people, into believing that they were doing the right thing. And what's a good way to represent that? Oh, let's use an innocent thing like a candy, a black licorice candy, that in South Africa was called the N-word balls. And that maybe the government was so insidious that they permeated their racist philosophy through things like candy from a young age to breed a racist mindset, and that's why they didn't help us. Or not all of them. The Jews helped us more than them, it seems. So when I use the N-word, I'm using it in context, in history, and to highlight the fact for a good reason. And the reason is to bring closure to people who don't know why, but they have to walk with you in the mall and trust you. Black people get freaked out when they're all alone in a group of white people. It feels threatening. For that reason, because they don't know what can happen next. I don't. Because I'm an actor, I can adapt to any situation. Because like I said in the Kate Hudson one, I had to. I literally went from eating in the toilet to knowing everyone's name. So for me it's not a big deal, but for normal civilians it is a big deal. But that's the work we have to do. That's the context we have to do it in. So take a flight and it'll all come right. It always does.